global controls will have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them. Crises precipitate change.
Secretly plotting your demise. I want to devise a virus.
Hello everyone, Darko 2012 here with Global Government News. I'm covering an article written by Kurt Nimmo, and it's titled "Drill Held at DC Transit Station Days Before Pentagon Shooting." And for any of those viewers, listeners, or what have you, are not or just haven't been following all of these events, like the Christmas Day bomber or the 9/11 or the IRS plane bomber, or any, you can check most of the events, the 7/7 bombing. They run drills. The government runs drills before an actual event like this happens. During the Haiti disaster, the earthquake, there was actually an exercise planned, and they were actually in the middle of the exercise, Southcom, which was they were carrying out an exercise basically that was simulating a disaster in Haiti due to, it wasn't an earthquake, it was a hurricane, but it was set just days before it. And their thing was, it was the Air Force and that mostly, and they actually had all this equipment set up, and ready to be deployed, and it was for telecommunications. And then when I covered the whole Haiti disaster or debacle or whatever you want to call it, I call it kind of a just really a disaster that turned into a eugenics kind of operation. So, but that's just my opinion. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. And the first thing that they did, because I called this out, was that the food and the water wasn't going to get to the people and all the quote aid, and that the priority of the UN, the U.S., and all them were to set up a police state, set up police and telecommunications, because that's what it was. I mean, their priority was to set up telecommunications, and that's what Southcom and the exercise was. It was for telecommunications, so that's why they set it up so fast, because they were already there. So it wasn't really an exercise. It was an operation. And so here we go. It says, coincidence, several days before John Patrick Bedell attacked 2 Pentagon cops and was killed, D.C. police staged a drill at the Friendship Heights Metro Station in Northwest Washington. Metro Police and other emergency personnel will descend on the Friendship Heights Station starting at 11:30 Wednesday night for an anti-terrorist exercise in which a mock gunman opens fire, killing or wounding several passengers, was quoted saying, and that was Scott Tyson, who reported from the Washington Post on February 22nd. Agencies responding will include the Metro Police Special Response Team, as well as fire, police, and emergency medical personnel from the district, Montgomery County, and the FBI, according to the Metro statement. And it says, prior to the Friendship Heights Metro Station drill on February 3rd, D.C. Metro's transit police staged their largest anti-terrorism sweep ever. Quote, some toting M4 rifles and others guiding bomb sniffing dogs, according to the Post. In coming months, they plan to hold similar drills for the effort dubbed Blue Tide, Terrorism Identification and Deterrence Effort. Drills are a prominent and highly suspicious feature of the attacks on September 11, 2001. New York City was scheduled to have a major terrorism training exercise September 11. It was called Tripod and was intended to test how well the city's Office of Emergency Management would administer treatment in the event of a biological terrorism attack. FEMA and the FBI were scheduled to participate. FEMA spokesman Tom Kenny confirmed tripod was scheduled to take place. He told Dan Rather on September 12, 2001 that FEMA was deployed to New York on Monday night, September 10th, to be ready to go into action on Tuesday morning, September 11th. Former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani confirmed FEMA's presence in the city during the testimony before 9/11 Commission in 2004. During its Vigilant Guardian exercise held on September 6, 2001, NORAD practiced for dealing with simulated hijackings of the two commercial aircraft by terrorists. The simulated hijackings were to occur on September 9th, 10th, and the morning of September 11th. The previous month, on August 30th, the Department of Transportation held a tabletop exercise, let's see here, as part of its preparations for the 2002 Winter Olympics in Salt Lake City. During that exercise, part of the scenario, interestingly enough, involved a potentially hijacked plane and someone calling on a cell phone, among other aspects of the scenario that were very strange when 12 days later, as you know, we had the actual event of 9/11. Ellen Engelman, the administrator of the Department of Transportation's Research and Special Programs Administration, said in October 2001. So that was the administrator of the Department of Transportation's Research and Special Programs Administration who said that. In early August 2001, a mass casualty exercise was held at the Pentagon. The scenario envisioned a hijacked plane hitting the Pentagon. Let me say this again. In early August of 2001, this is a month before 9/11 attacks, a mass casualty exercise was held at the Pentagon. The scenario envisioned a hijacked plane hitting the Pentagon. It was purely a coincidence. The scenario for that exercise included a plane hitting the building. General Lance Lord, the Assistant Vice Chief of the Staff of the Air Force, who was one of the participants in the exercise, told the Air Force Space Command News in September 2002. So he's saying it's a coincidence. On the morning of September 11th, within minutes of the attack on the World Trade Center and the Pentagon, the CIA was engaged in a, quote, pre-planned simulation to explore the emergency response issues that would be created if a plane were to strike a building. The Bush administration described the event as, quote, a bizarre coincidence. And then there was a terrorist drill held in London during the July 7th, 2005, or 7/7 attack. At 9:30 this morning, we were actually running an exercise for a company of over 1,000 people in London based on simultaneous bombs going off precisely at the railway stations where it happened this morning. So I still have the hairs on the back of my neck standing up right now. Peter Power, Managing Director of Visor Consultants, a private firm on contract to the London Metropolitan Police, and that's what he told the BBC. After the London attack, math on the odds of a drill occurring at the time it was calculated. I don't know what this is, guys, but you can come read this article yourself. It says the odds were 1 in 3 trillion, I don't know, quadrillion. This is obviously a figure open to conjecture, but it gives you an idea of the ballpark improbability we are talking about. Paul Joseph Rotson wrote for Prison Plan on July 23rd, 2005. And it says, see probability of 7/7 drill and attack coinciding. The odds on the drill at the Friendship Heights Metro Station in the Northwest Washington and the Blue Tide exercises held earlier prior to the Pentagon shooting are much lower, but suspicious nonetheless. The exercises were not mentioned by the corporate media after the Pentagon shooting. The fact drills and exercises parallel such events are irrelevant to the corporate media. Its primary agenda is to engage in hysterical fear-mongering about, quote, right-wing extremists and 9/11 truthers, and fallaciously connecting them to a shooting by a mentally deranged man who not only wrote about 9/11 truth, but the bizarre idea that marijuana should be a basis for the nation's currency. And so, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of coincidences, just like the IRS building, Joseph Stack, right before the plane, actually, his little Cessna plane hit the Echelon building in Texas. There was an eyewitness that was right below that, right across the street. He said she was like, oh, it's just kind of odd because we saw these fire trucks, all around the area. And, I guess she said it in a really hesitant, kind of a spooky way, because I don't think she understood what she was saying at the moment because she was on live on TV. So she's probably still kind of shooken up by the whole thing when she was like, I guess that's a good thing. That's what she said. I guess it's a good thing. that all the fire department, all those trucks happened to be there just minutes before the Joseph Stack's plane hit the building. So I don't know if you know, if they already knew about it, or you know how legitimate it was, but there's just everything's coincidence. So thank you.